Let's look at some crime shit, bro. Cult leader thinks he got away until 11-year-old exposes the dark truth.
Black Panther movement.
Jesus Christ, immediate Black Panther movement?
Say hey, wave in the camera.
I didn't even watch this video before.
Pay attention to these children. They are just two of hundreds of kids who were reported missing by their parents between 1993 and 2001. This footage shows where the kids were found, a 400-acre compound isolated in a rural part of the state of Georgia, where normally no outsider is allowed entrance. The footage shows massive pyramids, a towering sphinx, and strange monuments. Inside, everyone appears happy, waving at the camera.
Okay.
But behind the smiles, these people are hiding a disturbing secret.
Yo, bruh.
When the local
I don't understand how you can join these
investigated the
cults,
missing
bro.
children, they were met at the gate by armed men. While what really went on inside the compound remained a secret for decades, doctors in Georgia started noticing an alarming pattern. Multiple hospitals admitting dozens of children from the compound as young as 11 years old who were pregnant.
Jesus
The
Christ.
FBI quickly got involved, planning a raid on the compound to save the hundreds of children living behind the gates. But the FBI was afraid of having a repeat of the attack in Waco, Texas, a cult raid which saw dozens of young children murdered and sparked mass hysteria. The
This scene's kind of crazy. It's kind of bigger than what I thought. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was like only some interesting shit. This is like, damn.
FBI would have no idea what they were up against until one 7-year-old girl escaped the compound before it was too late. She was the only one who could expose the truth. It's 1977 in New York City. 2-year-old Nikki is living with her mother in a small apartment in Queens, New York, a neighborhood riddled with crime and violence.
There was a lot of gangs. There was drugs everywhere. Heavy on crime, heavy on murder, especially on Bushwick Avenue.
Every day, as Nikki's mom leaves for work, she experiences the brutality of the streets of New York. She thinks about little Nikki. This is not the world she wants her to grow up in, but with little money, the single mom doesn't have many options. But one day, everything changes when Nikki's mother is approached by a man in a long white garment. He hands her a book and points at the address printed on the cover. That night, she becomes filled with curiosity.
Oh,
and
I had
reads the
3
book
bots. I
cover to
forgot.
cover,
Hold on.
finally feeling that her prayers and hopes for a better life are being answered. Immediately, she decides that she will visit the man the next day. As she walks down the street, she proceeds with her usual caution, but as she approaches 717 Bushwick Avenue, she feels the air around her begin to change. Slowly, she hears the faint sound of a choir singing. As she walks in, she sees children laughing, playing,
I completely
and running
forgot,
around
man. That's
freely
something.
in beautiful garments. She comes face to face with an entire community, a community who preaches about their struggle while lifting each other up. After this first meeting, a new routine starts for the young mother. She begins attending the gatherings regularly, finally finding a place that feels like home. Slowly, the streets of New York feel safer with the help of this new community, and as the years go by, Nikki's mom starts to change. She finally sees a future for her and her kids, one that is hopeful and full of possibilities. Nikki, now 7 years old, starts to become more and more aware of her mother's faith, and for the first time since her mom's discovery, she tags along to a sermon with her. Nikki's mom watches her daughter as she enters. Seeing her child carefree and surrounded by such peace and joy brings tears to her eyes. Behind this safe community is one man who made it all happen. It's charismatic preacher, Dr. Dwight Malachi York.
Yo, I'ma be like, no disrespect, this nigga looks so fucking suspicious. And I don't mean that on no like crazy shit. I fixed
He
it.
could walk in this room and get along with everybody.
Okay.
He knew how to bring people together, and that was his personality.
The community, known as the Nawabian Nation, had its roots in New York City back in the 1960s. At the time, the city was an even more dangerous place to live, especially for African Americans, who faced daily discrimination and violence in the years following segregation. Racial tensions were high, and the streets of New York were no less forgiving. Muggings, drug deals, and violent crime were a part of everyday life.
Jesus Christ.
So for many,
Okay. Let me see this clip. What the fuck? Jesus Christ.
I don't even know which sex form.
That's before the update. That's before the update where they made her a fucking beast. I like the new Black Widow. The Black Widow's way better now.
The new community
might play that
offered
new
more
season
than
on
just a
stream. I've been
spiritual
playing
and
it for a while.
cultural liberation. It was a safe haven for Black residents in New York and across other cities along the East Coast.
For
The day
people of
before,
African descent, our history, our culture were literally severed by slavery. So who are we? Here comes Malachi York and says, oh, I have an answer to that.
You are the original man, the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the Cleveland Founders, the father of civilization and God of the universe.
And York says, well, why can't we have our own communities that are consciously planned for people of African
I
descent?
mean, where this dude's talking like Morgan
You don't
Freeman.
belong in this room.
All right now.
It's a black thing.
That's right.
York was an accomplished speaker who spent decades building this community. He often spoke about fighting for Black Americans and had ties to the Black Panther movement. On the side, he was also a musician, producing his own smooth jazz, funk, and disco records. He was an artist, an activist, and most importantly, the leader of the Nuwaubian Nation. His
look
message
at
of
him.
self-empowerment and strength only grew stronger
looks
into
like
the
a
80s,
supervillain.
and that's when, in 1986, Nikki's family takes a big leap of faith. At just 11 years old, Nikki officially moves into the compound in Bushwick, New York.
Oh, no,
Along with her two
bruh.
younger siblings, she's promised a roof over her head, protection, and the assurance of a better, brighter future.
It was an exchange from the hard knock life of being on the streets to moving into a community that was completely secured and protected by our own people.
But with their new lives come new rules, new customs, and ultimately, a completely new way of life.
There is
My
such
wardrobe
thing as like
changed, how we ate changed. We would study the Quran. We learned Arabic from Arabic teachers.
The spiritual leader is particularly fond of Nikki and her siblings and makes
no,
sure they're well
bruh.
fed, properly dressed, and kept entertained. He pays them close attention, greeting them warmly, checking in on their well-being, and ensuring they're included in community activities. For Nikki, the attention feels comforting, special. In a way, she's found a new father figure to look up to, someone both protective and powerful.
A little after
this
I joined the
nigga
community,
dresses like a Assassin's
my mom
Creed character,
became one of his
bro.
wives. That meant I was one of his children, and I looked up to him. That's my dad.
Dr. Malachi Dwight York is the center of the Nuwaubian Nation.
Bro,
He is revered as their leader and their savior. He is the provider of safety and hope. By this point, there's over 1,000 members, and their community center in Bushwick is becoming increasingly crowded. It comes to a point where it's clear to York that they've outgrown the city streets, and a new chapter needs to begin.
what?
A physical state with our own passport
Bro.
and our own tax system. I'm talking about our own nation, where no one tells us what to do but us.
Dwight York decides to build a new home for his congregation, and it will be over 900 miles away from New York, in the rural farmlands of Putnam County, Georgia.
We're
not
driving
even-
cross country.
This don't even seem
You see
like
the
you can mistake this as
rural
anything that's not a
areas that
cult.
we weren't accustomed to seeing. We pulled onto the property, and it was just open land. It was amazing.
The property was out in Putnam County in a very rural area, a little over 400 acres. Isolation was very much a factor. They were coming to Georgia. They were going to form their own nation, not subject to the laws of the United States.
Before York starts building in Georgia, he decides to fully overhaul the Nuwaubian Nation doctrine, drawing from different cultures, religions, and mythologies from around the world to create a new identity for his community. He makes drastic changes to his appearance in his quest. One moment, taking on a Western persona, donning cowboy hats and boots. Next, he claims to be an extraterrestrial being called
Oh, how you doing, bro? You good? Not gonna lie, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this video, bro. This shit. There's no way. There's no way niggas did not think this nigga was a supervillain. This nigga dresses like a Assassin's Creed villain. This nigga looks like he leaps from rooftops. How can y'all dead ass think that this dude was a good person? This nigga looks like the snake that was talking to Adam and Eve. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, how can you believe this?
And even going as far as calling himself Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle while
Nigga.
wearing a feather headdress.
Nigga. What did he call himself?
Going as far as calling himself Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle.
Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle. Is there nobody in this place that's thinking, wow, this dude is weird? Like, I get it, combining all these cultures together and everything like that to make a nation for minorities. I guess what he was trying to do. This is around the Black Panther movement. So, of course, there's a lot of racial tension around this time. That's whatever. Once you start, isn't this literally like culture culture appreciation, like appropriation? Isn't this literally that? Okay.
While wearing a feather headdress, he moves from one identity to the next until he lands on the perfect one that will define the new Nawabian nation. York gathers his followers for a sermon. There, he proclaims the true origin of the Nawabians, that they are, in fact, descendants of ancient Egyptians from a different planet.
I'll watch that clip in a minute.
Newfound identity and quickly get to work. They begin building. A massive sphinx head is erected, towering over the previously abandoned farmland. Artists are hired, murals are painted, and before long, dozens of elaborate structures and several large pyramids begin to take shape. With each new structure, the place transforms into something so bizarre.
Would y'all move here, chat? If this nigga whispered sweet nothingness into your ear, you moving in there? Nah, yeah, that's like there's no way. Like, I don't know if it's because I have like nothing to gain or lose. I have nothing to gain, and I feel like I have too much to lose to listen to this nigga. There's no way. I don't understand. I get it. You're in a bad time and a bad place in New York. New York around this time was horrible to be at. It's horrible to be in New York now. So imagine being in New York with racial tension. Like, it's terrible. But there's no way I'm listening to anybody moving to a spot and then he's talking about making his own nation and then is calling himself Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle. What? I don't even understand how you can allow this. And I just opened Riot
theatrical,
Games.
Drawing more and more attention from their neighbors and passersby.
How'd I even do that?
Dwight and his followers name it Tamaray, Egypt of the West.
If you were coming into Putnam County on Georgia Highway 142, all of a sudden there are pyramids out there in the middle of a cow pasture. It was very unusual.
And also, isn't this illegal? Like, he made a nation inside of a state that's already in a nation. Like, this land is already claimed. You can't fucking do this. Isn't that illegal? But you know, I don't know how far the like judicial system goes when you're battling against Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle. Would you go to war against Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle? I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
The prophet.
One of the things that he told us is the
Yo, this is getting. Look at him. He looks like. Bro, there's no way.
2 years after.
Neil.
Though the neighbors are confused by the strange new community, the compound isn't disruptive. The grounds stay tidy. There's no
Isn't
noise
disruptive?
and no trouble. It's strange to look at,
Yo,
yes,
bruh.
but it appears harmless.
This is like the
But
definition
truth
of the
is
bystander
not what it
effect.
seems, and what's really going on behind these walls is far more disturbing. 2 years after joining the Nuwaubian community, Nikki finally feels settled in her new home. But then, one day, one of York's wives finds Nikki alone on the grounds. She calls her over urgently, leading her to a private room, and that's when the woman tells the young teenager something she never expected.
What's going on?
one of the wives, she had a conversation with me and said, York would be the person that would teach me about sex, and she would help me and talk to me because, you know, these are things that you want to know as a growing woman.
In a state of shock, Nikki doesn't know what to do or how to feel. She just
Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? So all the suspicions that I had immediately got confirmed. Immediately. It got confirmed so fast, I didn't even have to say them. The nigga is walking around like a James Bond villain. He looks like a Hitman target. He looked like if you played Hitman and you pick one of the missions, he looked like one of the targets. He looks like he has a death cutscene. Like, this nigga is straight villain. It was clear. It was clear from the first look at him and how he went from a music producer, to some random priest talking about black excellence. And again, I get it. This is around the time of the Black Panther movement and racial tension. Are you going to say no to Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle? If this nigga tells you, I have a place far, far away where you can become excellent, are you gonna take that? He takes you over there and you're seeing pyramids and Egyptian sculptures, and he wants to be known as Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle. Now we understand who we with. Now we understand who's around us. There's no way I would allow this ever to be around, especially my family. And again, I understand it. There's tension around this time. But if I believe somebody and then they want me to call them Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle, even if it was a stunt, I'm leaving. How can you let this be? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. All I'm gonna say.
After joining the Nuwaubian community, Nikki finally alone on the grounds. She
There's
calls her over
no
urgently,
way.
leading her to a private room.
One of the wives, she had a conversation with me and said, York would be the person that would teach me about sex, and she would help me and talk to me because, you know, these are things that you
Would only live there if there's big booty Latinas. See, you them niggas Dr. Umar would be talking about. That close-up carrot was worth all the money. It was so funny. I already had that. Like, this is my old webcam I have, and I was like, how can I have a funny segment in my stream? And I was like, wow, I have another camera. Why not? Why can't I just move into it seamlessly for a dramatic effect?
want to know as a growing woman.
In a state of shock, Nikki doesn't know what to do or how to feel. She just listens. Maybe this is normal, and every other young girl in the community gets the same talk from Dwight York as part of his teachings. After all, he is the respected leader, the prophet.
One of the things that he told us is the person who takes your virginity, that's the person that you're always going to be connected to and loyal to.
That's when the 45-year-old York comes in and locks the door behind.
Oh no! I knew it. I knew it. Should I have told that to Diddy? What? Yo, I'm gonna be 100%. How? Yo, I blame this on the mob 100%. And it makes it even worse that Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle is 45 years old. 45. He tells you to move over to this one place. That's whatever. It started in New York. He tells you to go to the most rural part of Georgia. You go over there. You believe him. He starts building pyramids. A bunch of different shit. You stay. How old was the girl? I think she was a teenager around this time. I think she was like 14 to 16. So it's even bizarre that a woman who's definitely brainwashed or brainwashed to the point where if she had kids, that saying wouldn't even make sense. Wouldn't even make sense. Is allowing that. (16 to 45), these are diabolical marriage ages. Exactly. There's no place where that should be condoned. That's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Like, what are people condoning? What are they allowing? How do you even, like, and my question is, like, did she, I wonder if she told her mom this, like, at all. Like, because if this is happening or this happened and she's scared, clearly naive, it's a authority figure, you're scared to speak up. But these type of situations, all I wonder is, of course, did the parents know about it at all? Especially the fact that this is like a cult thing. I don't know if she was informed and then let it happen, or she was just in the blank. Either or, this is wrong regardless. Absolutely wrong. And I don't know where this nigga is. Hopefully by the end of this documentary, I know that this nigga is burning, getting his prostate touched with a metal rod. Like, rusty, burning metal rod. He can never shit again. He dies from a inflation fetish burns to death. I hope it's like the worst death, humiliating possible. Because there's no way you think how crazy you are. There's no way in hell you think 16, 45. I'm the person that has to do this. No, you're a fucking weirdo. Like this is already pissing me off. Already.
It wasn't something that I wanted to do, and he just kind of held me down and just did it.
That's fucking disgusting, bro.
I was miserable. I used to write him many letters saying that I hated my life, and you know, I wish I wasn't born.
This might be on par with the Epstein files. Absolutely. Like absolutely. And it's like people joke around that our version of the Epstein files was like the Diddy, like P. Diddy. This is it. This is it. This is on par. This is on par. Definitely. I don't think you can like debate on what's worse. They were doing horrible things to children. He was doing the same and brainwashing people.
There's nothing I could do about it. This is someone who, for all of my life...
Okay, bro. He looked like Osama bin Laden. Like, I wanted to say this at the beginning, but I didn't want to sound offensive. Because I didn't know if he was like... I didn't want to, like, disrespect any religions. He looks like Osama bin Laden. Like... This is horrible.
Life was our leader, our master teacher. So when you have that ingrained in you, you don't want to leave.
The world she thought she understood, the people she thought she could rely on, all feels different now. Everything has changed, and there's no going back. Nikki stays quiet, trapped by the rules, and by the eyes constantly surveying her, making sure she stays loyal and doesn't disrespect the leader by going against his teachings. With no one to turn to, not even her own mother, it feels like there's nowhere else to go.
It completely starts out with gaining their trust. Your parent is telling you that this is God and this is our Savior. So they believed they were supposed to do whatever they needed to do to please him.
Like, why does this...
Nikki lives in fear, harboring a secret that she tells no one. Everyone in the community acts normally, praising Dwight York, worshiping their leader, not knowing the darkness this man possesses. But as the teenager grows up, something inside her tells her that she's not alone.
I started seeing the patterns of certain things. It started to remind me of how miserable I was when things started happening to me.
York's power has only grown. Unchallenged and out of sight, a part of Nikki knows she needs to escape to save herself and the other children, but the fear of leaving behind everything she knows, everything she has ever had, is strong. Having been herself a victim of Dwight York is one thing, but seeing the same thing happening to younger children is another. In spite of years of manipulation and grooming, Nikki can still see how wrong everything is. Over time, she realizes that she needs to escape, not just for her sake, but for all the other girls who need to be protected.
Being in a space that's supposed to be holy and pure and protected and happy, but we're miserable, times keep getting worse and worse. And I was scared to leave because I'm not going to be protected. I don't know anything on the outside. But some parts of me was like, I'm willing to go to the unknown.
However, her mother doesn't see it that way. For her, the community is what saved her and her kids from the dangers of the world. So when Nikki gathers up the courage to confess her plan, her mom's reaction takes her by surprise. The side she has chosen is not her daughter's. And that's when a campaign of intimidation and pressure begins, led mainly by York, but also by her own mother. Despite the heartache, Nikki tries to stay strong. With no family on the outside to help her, she tracks down a former cult member, now living in Atlanta, who offers her a place to stay while she reaches safety. Meanwhile, York is furious to see one of his daughters trying to leave him. The betrayal is huge, and his pride is on the line. Nikki, by openly rejecting him, has cornered him. That's when York takes an unprecedented decision. In an attempt to save face, Nikki is not leaving him, He is the one kicking her out.
The day I left, I was scared and numb and feel like
weirdo,
this is
bro.
it.
Try to do some power trip, bro. You gotta lock in, bro.
If I'm gonna die, then at least I made that one thing that
Yeah, get him out, bro.
that choice of my own, because I didn't have any choices. I had to do what I was told the whole time.
Her mission is clear: expose the disturbing truth about York's cult and save the children still trapped at the compound before it's too late. But unbeknownst to her, the FBI is already on it. For years, the FBI has been quietly building a case against the cult leader ever since they started receiving the most unusual phone calls from across the country, calls from parents who all had missing children.
We would get calls from a mother or a father. My daughter's down there in a cult. I can't get in touch with her. I don't know what's happened. Can you try to find out from me? But I would go there. There was always an armed guard at the gate. You know, they wouldn't let you on the property. At that time, I didn't know what was going on.
Then, doctors from the surrounding area started sounding the alarm. They were uncovering a horrific pattern. Girls as young as 11 years old were showing up at hospitals pregnant. As they traced their locations, they all came from one place, the Nuwaubian compound.
It just all leads back to the same thing. It's all leading back to the same thing. Like, oh my God.
While agents continue their investigation into York, there's growing concern about the potential violence and innocent lives that could be lost if the FBI confronts the community leader directly at the compound.
We had received information over the years that he had a stockpile of weapons. We were concerned about a shootout.
York becomes increasingly aggressive and reckless, appointing armed guards to guard the gate, while the locals of Putnam County become even more wary of their strange neighbors as things escalate.
When I went by there one morning, they're marching around with guns, and I just don't think that's the thing to have.
When you're met with armed individuals who claim that they're not subject to your laws, armed conflict is usually instantaneous.
We're going after the leader of a cult. How are we going to do this? How do you infiltrate a cult?
That's a good question.
It's clear that something sinister is happening at the compound, but with no witnesses willing to talk about it, authorities are left in a tough spot. Both the FBI and law enforcement in Georgia don't want to have a repeat of Waco.
We have what appears to be a fire going on right now, raging at the Branch Davidian compound.
In 1993, in Waco, Texas, just 1 year before the investigation on the Nuwaubian Nation leader Dwight York began, a 51-day standoff between the FBI and a religious group called the Branch Davidians ended in a deadly fire, resulting in 76 deaths, including 25 children. What began as an attempt to serve a search and arrest warrant escalated into one of the most tragic events in U.S. history. The aftermath sparked outrage in the media, with witnesses and survivors criticizing the government's handling of the situation. Now faced with the same fear, authorities are deeply concerned about how to handle their investigation on York. For nearly a decade, they did everything to build a strong case against the leader, but what they really needed was a real victim statement, someone on the inside who knew what was going on to expose the truth. And that's when Nikki, the girl who had just escaped, decides to come forward.
He took advantage of our work, our bodies, our minds. He had us fooled. He doesn't get to have the last say in that.
Finally, with the survivor on the record, authorities have enough evidence to make their move.
Fucking God.
On the morning of May 8, 2002, Sheriff Sills and an army of over 200 deputies, U.S. Marshals, and FBI tactical agents get ready to bring in Dwight York. The difficult part is that they need to prevent York from rallying his followers to violently resist the police upon entry. If this goes wrong, it could quickly turn deadly, and they know a lot of children are on the premises. That's when Sheriff Sills comes up with a plan. The first step will be closely tracking Dwight York, patiently waiting for him to leave the compound before the raid.
The FBI had him under surveillance on the ground and by air support.
Hours pass. The authorities wait in silence, in fear of what comes next. Finally, the gates of Tama-Re open. They spot a sleek, black car leaving. The FBI agents start following it, doing their best not to get spotted.
We learned from radio communication that his vehicle had pulled into a parking lot of a grocery store. The SWAT team was there and the arrest teams. Our job was to make sure we could identify him.
FBI agents hold their breath, waiting for the car door to open. As they wait hidden in the parking lot, hoping Dwight York has been the man in the vehicle this whole time, one miscalculation could risk the entire operation. If it's not York, they can't risk the leader discovering that they're coming for him while still protected at the compound. Then, the car door swings open. A man exits from the back seat. The surveillance team confirms it. It's Dwight York walking out of the car. Now is the time to strike. The agents make their move just as planned. With meticulous coordination, they quickly move out of unmarked vehicles, approaching York, who, surrounded by a swarm of armed agents, finally has nowhere left to run, and the team makes an arrest. Now, it's Sheriff Sills' turn to complete his mission. He swiftly leads a convoy with dozens of local and federal officers into the gates of Tama-Re, but not without caution. Hundreds of innocent children and their families live on the grounds. Despite anticipation of resistance and retaliation, they enter without force through the main gates.
As the deputies swarmed in, we created a big perimeter.
The raid was a show of force involving hundreds of local and federal officers.
After years of fear, secrecy, and abuse, Tama-Re finally comes to a quiet end. The operation is successful and without any violence.
I remember thinking, you know what? We are going to prove this case. We are going to get some closure for so many victims.
Thank God.
Now, with York in custody in the Nuwaubian compound
this dude
disbanded,
out of here,
Putnam
bro.
County law enforcement continues building their legal case against York with the FBI. For nearly 2 years, they gather more witnesses, expert testimonies, and countless pieces of evidence.
York absolutely did not want to go to trial because all his secrets would come out.
At the beginning of January 2004, Dwight York's trial begins. He faces charges for several counts of child abuse, rape, racketeering, conspiracy, and tax fraud.
Get
While
him outta
York
here,
sits in
bro.
the courtroom finally facing accountability for his horrific crimes, the survivors sit together, hand in hand. Among the survivors is Nikki. She looks at York. He is no longer the self-proclaimed god and prophet she once knew. To her, he just looks like a regular old man, his hair turning gray and his body appearing frail in an orange prison jumpsuit.
I hadn't seen him in 3 years, and actually it was kind of liberating because I felt like he can't tell me anything. He can't make me do anything. That was the first time of me getting my power back.
Nikki stands with her head high, nervous, but with strength. She walks toward the witness stand to testify against the man who once had so much power over her.
One witness would lead to the next in terms of identifying victims. And in the end, we identified and interviewed at least 40 victims.
After 3 weeks of testimony, on January 23, 2004, Dwight York is found guilty on 11 of the 13 counts and sentenced to the maximum penalty. Among the litany of state and federal charges against him, York pleads guilty to 74 counts of child molestation, the interstate
Get him outta here,
transportation
bruh.
of minors for criminal sexual activity,
Get him outta here,
conspiracy,
bruh.
and racketeering.
Get him out.
York
bruh.
is currently serving a
Get him out.
135-year federal prison sentence.
That shit should have been $1 billion. They should have like put a hex on his soul. So if he died, he could never get resurrected. They'll bring his soul back to life and another body. They'll find that body, get him back in prison for an extra 3 billion years. You over here doing bullshit, bro.
On lockdown for 23 hours a day.
Life in prison. No.
He has
Eternity
exhausted all of
in
his
prison.
appeals, and that's where he will
Doing
remain.
bullshit, bro. Like that's straight
Justice has been
disgusting.
served for these victims.
What that sentence does too is
16
assures these
to
people
45? You thought that
they
shit was
can
cool, too. You thought
now
that shit was
walk
clean.
with their head high,
Gotta
pursue
die.
their dreams.
After York's conviction, Nikki moves to South Florida with a new lease on life. There, she pursues her GED and finds her passion as an artist with a mission to serve the community and empower others. In 2015, Nikki starts an organization called What's Your Elephant, which uses the arts as an avenue to challenge social norms. For the last 20 years, Nikki has positively influenced her community. Dwight York called himself a leader, but Nikki actually became one.
He had us fooled. He never cared about us. He took advantage of our work, our bodies, our minds. Now that he's in prison, he's living how he forced us to live while he took advantage of us. He doesn't get to have the last say in that.
Her strength to stand up for herself and for others hasn't gone unnoticed. In 2004, after testifying against York, she received the Louis E. Peters Memorial Service Award, the highest civilian humanitarian award in the U.S. Through her determination to turn her pain into purpose, Nikki continues to work with underserved communities, supporting them to speak their truth and share their stories. Today, she stands as a true leader, proof that even in the darkest chapters, healing and purpose can emerge.
Yep. That was a good video. That was a very good video. And I'm not gonna lie, that was very interesting to learn about. I hope that dude gets like eviscerated. Like I hope he gets atomized in the highest degree. Only like that one Long Beach Griffey video. So you have 45 consecutive life sentences plus an extra 300 years. If you die, you will get a escape charge, and we're gonna find your resurrected body as a baby and put you in jail to spend the rest of your life sentence. Like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, there's no way in hell you thought that that was a good idea at all. There's no delusion you thought you was in the right. No way. You know you wasn't in the right because your ass didn't want to go to trial. So you know what that means? You're a sack of shit. That's why you are in prison right now. Did he die? Did he die in prison? Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Did this dude die in prison? That was a W video indeed. I'm definitely posting that shit on YouTube though. This is 100% a W segment. W segment. But